We have second panelist of our day, which is Kamini Singh from Bhubaneswar, India. It is in Madhya Pradesh. And Kamini Singh is a young climate reality leader trained by Mr. Elgore in 2020. So Kamini and me, we both were trained for climate reality leadership corps training this year itself. That was in July 2020. She has educated the scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers, which is recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006 and upscaling community forest resource rights, recognition and governance in Jharkhand. She is presently working with Sparsh Social Foundation, which is CSR wing of JK Papers, on youth and sustainability in tribal aspirational district Rayagada in Odisha. She holds a master degree in economics and is also a certified Microsoft Innovative Educator expert. I'm sorry, she's from Odisha, whereas I was saying it is Madhya Pradesh. She's from Odisha. So we welcome Kamini to APS WDP Dialogue Series 2. And with this, I request you to please share your thoughts on climate reality is not gender neutral. Over to you.
Thank you, Hiteshi. Thank you, APSWDP. Thank you, Vivek for bringing us together. I'll start with my presentation and then I'll share one of my experiences. So, as we all know, climate change is a global phenomena that affects our natural system and consequently our well-being. We are all at risk from climate change. No one is immune. Yet, women, children, and elderly face specific risk and greater burdens, particularly when they are already living in poverty. Impacts of climate change are not gender neutral. Climate change affects men and women differently. But nature itself is not discriminatory. It is the social norms and gender inequalities in the society that determine the differentiated impacts. If I put this forward in simple terms, the effects are uneven across population because of the existing inequalities in society, which are made worse by climate change. Women tend to rely more on natural resources for their livelihood. They need to secure water, food, and fuel for cooking and heating. Climate change only adds to this existing burden. Women who already spend hours collecting clean water, fuel, and vegetation for their household are spending even more time doing this household task and are unable to further their education or have a formal wage earning job. These climate change impacts are also lessening women's coping ability. There are certain myths and facts associated with women and their ability to cope up with climate change. I'll share a few of them with you. First one is women are more likely to die during storms and floods because of their inability to swim. This is a general perception, but it's a myth. The fact is, rural women, especially those living in coastal and flood prone areas, can swim very well. Yet, women tend to be more vulnerable. Evidence suggests women's lack of inaccessibility to shelter facilities is a leading contributor to mortality. Despite being caretakers for children and the elderly, women are less informed on storms and flood warnings and the related shelter information. Second one is climate change related disasters are also associated with increase in gender based violence. It's a fact. After a natural disaster, women are more likely to become victims of domestic and sexual violence and may avoid using shelters from fear. Evidence also shows a link between natural disasters and an increase in child marriages. As a family struggle in these situations, more young girls are being married at a very young age. So there are different aspects of gender gaps. We'll go one by one. First one is consequences of disasters. Climate change has increased the frequency of disaster like floods, drought, and other extreme events. These are affecting mostly those who are economically and socially marginalized. Within these groups, women are often the most marginalized due to the socially constructed roles and responsibilities. Also, post traumatic stress increases after natural disasters, especially when families are displaced and have to live in temporary housing in overcrowded conditions with no privacy, no lack of future prospects, and limited livelihood opportunities. This often leads to violence and exploitation as well. Also, after a natural disaster, when women are more likely to become victims of domestic and sexual violence and may avoid using shelters from fear, evidence also shows a link between natural disasters and an increase in child marriages. I'm sorry, coming to next, that is migration. Climate change is increasingly causing people to migrate from their communities to find better social and economic opportunities. Because of the existing social norms that dictate the roles and responsibilities suitable for men and women, men tend to they tend to react to climate change pressures accordingly. Like men are more likely to migrate to areas unaffected by climate change in search of employment, whereas women have fewer opportunities to migrate and are more likely to stay in the affected area to take care of the family and household. Third is food security, nutrition, and water resources. Climate change is expected to cause more frequent and severe food shortages. These can lead to reduced household income, increased household burden for women, and compromised nutritional balance. Also, rising food prices often affect the poorest community members, who are usually women. In most developing countries, such as India, women and girls are generally responsible for water collection for domestic use and other purposes. As climate change can impact the availability and quality of water, women and girls are to find alternative water sources that are often farther away or of poor quality. Women are more vulnerable to food shortages than men, as they skip meals for the benefit of the family members. This is a general tendency. Next is health. Climate change impacts human health in various ways and can affect men and women differently depending on the context. Like health includes a range of conditions such as physical ailment, diseases, mental, maternal. The increase in disease due to climate change contributes to the domestic burden of women, who are often the primary caregivers for sick in family. Women are also vulnerable to maternal and infant health issues that are increasing due to climate change. They also have the household role of providing water for the family that is an increased there is an increased risk of contracting waterborne diseases. Water scarcity also equates to more time spent harvesting water and less time spent on other activities of livelihood. It is estimated that during the dry seasons in India, in water stressed area, as Sheetal mentioned, especially Maharashtra, 30% more 30% or more of a women's daily energy expenditure is spent on harvesting water. Additionally, the manual labor involved in water harvesting places, women or girl or children also are at risk for cumulative damage to the spine or neck that leads to chronic skeletal pain. Traveling long distances for water also increases exposure to heat stress and heat stroke and threatens women's personal safety by increasing their risk of violent crimes. Next is increased burden of caregiving. As a primary caregivers, women may see their responsibilities increase as family members suffer. Next is political representation. At the 21st Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Paris in 2015, just 32% of delegates and only 20% of heads of delegations who participated in the negotiation were women, demonstrating the degree of underrepresentation in leadership position. Such an agreement is not easy to retrofit if the negotiations have not accounted for needs and perspective of women from different backgrounds. At a local level, women's participation and leadership is also very important, since it is precisely at this level that many of the impacts of climate change are being seen. So I'll share one of my personal experiences with you. This was during my internship with National Urban Health Mission in Jharkhand. I'll show a few of the pictures as well. During my field trip, I visited some families who migrated from Bihar to Ranchi in search of livelihood. It was around 10 in the morning, as I remember, and the ladies, they were at home. I luckily got a chance to interact with them. Their husbands were rickshaw pullers and made around 200 to 250 rupees per day. During the interaction, I figured out that these people were paying much high proportion of their monthly income on drinking water than we do. They were spending around 10% of their monthly income on this basic necessity of life. They spent somewhere 20 rupees, I guess, if I remember, that is 600 rupees per month to buy clean drinking water. And this was solely for drinking. If you can see the picture, this is the condition of the kitchen. This is how they lived. For cooking, washing utensils, they used water from hand pumps, which was not fit to drink at that time. I was very curious. I asked them कि why don't you go back to your villages? Why you're staying here? आप क्यों नहीं चले जाते हो? इतनी मुश्किल में आप रह रहे हो यहाँ पर. So to which they replied that they never wanted to leave, but nothing is there to go to or cry for. Actually, they experienced drought for 2 consecutive years. Therefore, they had to sell their belongings to pay off their accumulated debt and migrated to the city in search of hope. They were landless laborers. They worked on someone else's land. Since then, they were struggling for survival in the city. I came back that day, but every word kept striking me that this is a clear case of climate-induced internal migration. I decided to dig deeper. India is a country with various socio-climatic conditions with large number of people depending on agriculture. Drought, soil erosion is one of the major reasons for displacement in India. Next day, I decided to visit them again. I wanted to learn more. Actually, I wanted to see through gender lens. Generally, women are the worst affected among migrants, as I said earlier. Also, for women, water crisis is very personal. It's very personal to them. So next day when I went there, I found out as the nearby hand pumps had dried up, these ladies had to travel long distances to collect water, sometimes 2 to 3 kilometers or even 4 to 5 kilometers, carrying their child and the container. You will be wondering why 2, 3, 4 kilometers in a city, but they belong to a particular community and were not allowed to touch water sources used by other community. This is true. This happens. But this is not all. This was not all. She was either abused or beaten up by her husband because of the delay in fetching water, which he ascribes to her secret love affair. So this is the condition of women. Just think about the pain, the suffering they go through, and climate change is worsening it. I would like to wind up. We are running out of time. I think I've already crossed the limit. So we can discuss the potential solutions or opportunities in the question and answer session. Thank you. Thank you so much.